Welcome to Across America Talk. I'm Chen Weihua, columnist at China Daily. On my right is my colleague Boris. Zhou, we have this summit between Chinese President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Barack Obama in Sunnyland, California, a month ago. And then a week ago, we have this China-U.S. strategic economic dialogue. And obviously, I have observed that, the mood is totally different. If we recall a year ago, we heard all these rhetoric from Mitt Romney, day one pledge on China. It's a very harsh rhetoric. And Obama actually also returned with a lot of harsh rhetoric on China. And even just before Sunnylands, months and after months, we have this rhetoric on sort of cyber theft, which involving the Chinese government. But after Sunnyland, and actually during last week's strategic economic dialogue, we actually observed quite a noticeable difference, I would say. Both seems to resort to more, I think, a rational, calm dialogue instead of those shouting games, which I think is not helpful. What kind of difference you have observed?
There certainly is a difference between a president in campaign mode and one who's governing, isn't there? I thought the tone was a lot different, very workmanlike, very businesslike. The two sides clearly have things on their agenda. To arguably the two most powerful countries in the world, definitely the two biggest economies in the world. They've got differences. They're talking about establishing, the U.S. is taking up Xi Jinping's offer of establishing a new type of major power relationship. And this we should point out, regular occurring strategic and economic dialogue has been and is and will continue to be a sign of just how serious each country takes their relationship. From the Chinese side, I was struck really by the various officials' seeming ease with which they, made and reinforced certain commitments to economic reform, while also pointing out things problems they have, that China has with U.S. policies over, not even including human rights. Those came up. Chinese officials have, this isn't the first time they've voiced those kinds of opinions publicly, but there seemed to be a kind of more naturalness with which it happened. Nobody seemed embarrassed by this. Nobody was making apologies for it. I have to ask you, though, Weihua, yesterday we had the release of a Pew Research Center survey about China. Something like 39 countries around the world, people there were surveyed. The pluralities and majorities in some countries think China will overtake the U.S. I forget the time frame exactly, but we're talking the next couple of decades as the world superpower. What did you make of that study?
Yeah, it's very interesting because I remember it's like 23 of the 39 countries. The majority of plurality there believe China has already or will replace the United States as the superpower. My sense is, because people always look at the sheer size. It's not news because people know that the sheer size of China's GDP will be bigger than the United States. That will happen, some say in 10 years, 20 years, some say 30 years longer, but it will happen. But what does that mean? China still has 1.3, 1.4 billion people. The United States has only 300 million. So in per capita sense, that means that China has a long way to catch up with the United States. We are not even talking about China is going to catch up with the U.S. militarily or in science and technology in the near future. And I think it's very interesting if we talk about the interesting survey, which actually there was a similar one 2 years ago by Pew, and and from the Sunnyland and S&ED that it's interesting. Both seems to emphasize we should avoid this sort of historical collision between an existing power.
There are stark and genuine differences between these two countries. They rhetorically, both sides seem to recognize what those are, and yet maintain a commitment to working them out.
Let's hope both countries will work towards that direction. Okay, thank you for watching this week's Cross America Talk. We'll see you next week.